In chapter 1 of his Gospel, John describes from his perspective Jesus' first encounter with two of his would-be disciples. If you met Jesus for the first time, what would you do? What would you say? What would he say? These two folks were disciples of a man called John the Baptist, and then John said something amazing about Jesus. When the two disciples heard him say this, they followed Jesus. Turning around, Jesus saw them following, and he asked, "What do you want?" This question is incredibly profound. Let me explain why. Several centuries ago, René Descartes, the philosopher, said, "I think, therefore I am." According to him, we are primarily thinking creatures. I remember some time ago walking through a university English department and seeing a poster saying, "I write, therefore I am." In other words, we are primarily writing creatures. I think in my younger years, when I was so obsessed with football or soccer, I would probably have said that I play football, therefore I am. I know musical folk who love to play music and sing might be tempted to say, "I play music, therefore I am." Christian philosopher James Smith argues that according to the Bible, those aren't quite right. And what is distinct and unique about us human beings is our ability to love and desire. That is what makes us unique. In other words, we are desiring creatures. We are creatures who love. So here's a thought. If we are made in the image of God, what does that say about God? So when Jesus says to those two would-be disciples, "What do you want?" I don't think he's snapping at them. I don't think he's saying, "What do you want?" I think he's asking perhaps the most fundamental question. What is in your heart? What do you desire? What do you love? What do you want is the question. Recently, I was talking with a friend about visiting him in Auckland, and I asked him how far his house was from a place called Sandringham, which is a suburb in Auckland. He asked why, and I explained that in Sandringham is my favourite restaurant in the whole of New Zealand, a restaurant called Paradise. You see, the restaurant Paradise has captured my heart. I love it so much. And author and theologian Tim Keller, he says that whatever captures the heart's trust and love also controls the feelings and behaviour. What the heart most wants, the mind finds doable. So what do you want is a question of the heart. You see, the heart doesn't just desire. The heart also plans, and the heart also determines the direction of a person's life. In the UK, there is a real political party called the Monster Raving Loony Party, and it has some very attractive policies. Here are a few of them. The British national debt will be cleared instantly by transferring it to the national credit card. All social media sites are to be taken down for one day each year for a remember when we used to talk to each other day. Income tax will be scrapped. It was introduced to finance the Napoleonic Wars, and we believe it is now time to cease hostilities with Napoleon and scrap it. And then perhaps more controversially, we propose to lower the voting age to offer it to 5-year-olds because this reflects the behaviour of MPs in Parliament. Now, if you wanted to see any of these become law, you'd have to influence the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister is persuaded, then allowing for due process, the country will go in that direction. But here's the thing, what a leader is to a country, the heart is to a person. Let me say that again. What a leader is to a country, the heart is to a person. And since we are primarily desiring creatures, it is the heart that determines the direction of a person's life. To humans belong the plans of the heart. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps, from Proverbs 16. In the Bible, the heart is the center of the human personality. The heart is the seat of the mind and will and emotions all together. The heart is the center of a person's attention and commitment. Today, I hope you can see that, firstly, we are primarily desiring creatures. I love, therefore I am. And secondly, the heart is immensely important because it determines the course of our lives. Well, what determines our heart desires? Where do our desires come from? How can we exert control over our desires? We will look at those next time. But let me wrap up by asking this question. If you were one of those disciples, and if Jesus asked you, what do you want? What would you say?